In a town so full of history, we often overlook the monument in each of our homes. I'm talking, of course, about the refrigerator. Aside from protecting the food that nourishes us, the refrigerator is a curated exhibit of accomplishment. It's a museum of souvenir magnets, exemplary report cards, and only the finest of childhood artwork. The aspiring artist knows that if you can make it on the fridge, you can make it anywhere. This teaches us from a young age to be proud of who we are and what we can do. When I was 4 years old, my preschool had a costume party for Halloween. Leading up to the event, everyone was very excited to discuss their costumes, some princesses, ninjas, a whole zoo of animals, and some even all at once. But what was I going to dress up as? Who was I going to be? For some reason, these questions caused me a great deal of stress. And when my parents asked me why, I responded with, I just want to be me. And so, that's what I did. There I was in the costume parade, wearing my favorite hat. It even had a little pumpkin pin on it to show some festive spirit. And that's the year I went as myself for Halloween. As children, we know the least, yet we are the most sure. Whatever happened to that certainty? Well, shame. We grow to be ashamed of ourselves. Now, shame is defined as humiliation or distress caused by a consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior. It is a word from Old English and an even older root word, skem, meaning to cover or conceal. To be ashamed is to hide some part of ourselves. I learned shame when I was very young. I am adopted and was often asked why I don't resemble my parents the same way my peers resemble theirs. I was teased for my Korean ethnicity and the accompanying features, especially when I did not conform to the stereotypes associated with my background. How do we combat these feelings when we're told that who we are is somehow not enough? Well, the answer is pride. Pride is a word that comes to us from Old English, or Old Norse, prudi, meaning bravery. The Oxford English Dictionary features 5 different definitions of the word pride. The first states that pride is a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements. But what have I accomplished? Growing up, I had many hobbies in a variety of areas. I am a decent piano player, but I've never performed. I earned my black belt in martial arts, but I've never won a medal or even participated in a tournament. The pressure to succeed took a lot of the fun out of these experiences for me, and I didn't want my enjoyment of these things to be dependent on the approval of others. This lack of focus eventually led to an ADHD assessment, which retroactively explained a lot about my academic struggles as well. Now that I could identify a clear learning disability, things made way more sense. But a diagnosis alone cannot resolve the symptoms. I felt tremendous shame for not being able to complete the classes in the same way that my peers did. I am proud to say that I graduated from this very high school in 2018 with honors, thanks to the teachers that supported me. They refused to give up on me when I had already given up on myself. Which brings us to the second definition. Pride is a consciousness of one's own dignity. This is what we think of as our sense of self, also called the ego. For those of us who struggle with mental illness, it can be especially difficult to grant ourselves the same patience and empathy that we reserve for others. So much of our lives are tied to stigma and struggle, leaving little room for us to know who we truly are beyond those things. I am a writer. I write things down. I love to tell stories, and I find the world around me to be far more fascinating than my own lived experiences. As writers, we are expected to treat our characters with the decency and respect of being alive, so that they can take on an active role in their life and, in turn, their story. There was a time where I did not plan to live past the age of 15. I have survived immense trauma and overcome profound grief, and yet I still find that I deny myself the decency of being alive. I am proud to say that I am always working on having a more active role in my life. Something else we do as writers is we make a promise to our readers that we will get the protagonist to the end of the story. I am proud to say that I'm committed now to the story of my life to make sure that that happens. Third, pride is the confidence or self-respect by members of a group. This refers to any one group of a shared heritage, religion, or other subcultural identity to honor their past, celebrate their present, and cultivate their future. In high school, when I came out as transgender, I didn't really want to make it a big deal. I'm a pretty low-key person, and for the most part, nothing really changed. I dressed the same way I had been, participated in the same activities, only with a new name and different pronouns. I didn't want to be a poster child or an advocate because of my identity. I just wanted to live my life. Because of the support I've had from our small-town community, I am able to say that I grew up with the privilege of respect, privacy, and the understanding that I am more than my gender and orientation. But still, I represent something. It's dangerous to be visible, especially now. But it's Pride Month. This is a time of celebration for the LGBT experience. And I am proud to stand here before you and say that I represent trans stability and trans joy for the youth who see no future and the adults who see no tomorrow. The fourth definition of pride refers to the best state or condition of something. This is a bit trickier to explain. The example given is to be in the pride of one's youth, referring to the time in our lives when we have the most potential. It can also apply to being in the pride of one's career, when everything that we've built has finally come to some fruition and feeling that we have finally achieved success. Too often we criticize ourselves for not doing more and for not being more. But shouldn't instead we be proud of the commitment we make to being the best versions of ourselves? The last definition of pride is that a pride is a group of lions. Lions are ancient archetypes of strength and stature. They are social creatures, the only cats that live in groups. They take care of each other. It's been said that as humans have evolved, we've lost many of our natural defense mechanisms, especially with modern technology. Yet the one that has kept us alive the longest is the same one on which we build our society, and that is community. When I was a kid, I just wanted to be me. But now, I stand before you able to take pride in every aspect of my identity because I've grown up with this community of people who support and rely on each other. This is our pride. Thank you very much.